Watch That Betting Show with Donnie and Teddy here right on sportsbookreview.com. Watch what you bet tonight. We're going to be watching here along on TNT as the Rockets and the Raptors, as the Rockets head north to take on Toronto. -3.5 total, 227.5. Moneyline split, +140, -160. Two teams, Teddy, in this environment here. Look, when we take a look at Houston, 28-33 ATS on the season, 9-8 as a dog, 12-19 against the spread on the road. And Toronto doesn't fare too much better. 27-35 on the season, 20-30, Teddy, against the spread as a favorite at home. Something's got to give in this one.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Raptors. You want to talk about, we were just talking about the Houston Astros a minute ago, and hey, they won 103 games, and they still weren't profitable. Here are the Raptors. They're 6-2 their last 8, only 1-7 against the spread during that span. So the markets have Toronto priced here, and their level of play has only been about over here of late. They're still winning these games, but they have not covered numbers. Now, it is worth noting they are coming off a loss at Detroit. A loss in which they didn't play particularly well, a loss in which they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. And, this is a team that only had one 2-game losing streak since mid-December. They've been pretty good at bouncing back off a defeat. But you talked about their ATS failures, and it's been long-term, and it's been significant. 5-10 against the number, just a 33% ATS proposition as short chalk. Favorites 4.5 or lower all season. The Rockets, they're on a roll, 5-0 straight up and against the spread the last 5. That includes road wins at Golden State, Charlotte, and Boston. But, the game against the Celtics, I mean, they were draining. Eric Gordon hit 8 threes. 4 of the 5 Rocket starters had at least 3 of them, but they only got 9 points, 0 assists, 0 steals off the bench, and their depth took another hit for Reed and Shumpert, both questionable at best tonight for Houston. Without that duo, I'm not excited about taking the Rockets, despite their recent success.
Stumbling Celtics, Teddy. Losers of 5 of 6 games head out west to take on the champs. The Golden State Warriors line currently sitting at -8, over under 229.5. 2 money burners in these situations as well, Teddy. Celtics 31-32 on the season against the spread, but 0-5 versus Pacific Conference foes. Tongue twister there. 8-15 against the spread versus the Western Conference. Take a look at the Warriors. How about this one, Teddy? 11-19 against the spread at home. 2-10 against the spread in the second half of the season. Something's got to give in this one.
Yeah, it does. Someone's got to cover. Or we could see a push. But two teams that the betting markets, even backing these two teams, you've been burning money of lately. The Warriors, 1-9 ATS their last 10. And it's worth noting they have 5 different wins without a cover during that span, even including the one at Philadelphia to close out that road trip. A win, by the way, a quote like this always worries me. Warriors coach Steve Kerr called the win at Philadelphia to close out that road trip one of the best wins of the year. Steph Curry. With 20 games or 19 games left, these feel-good kind of games where you just figured out how to win is very kind of playoff-esque. We want to build that kind of mentality and expectation down the stretch. Now, Golden State should have Klay Thompson back in the ball game, back in the lineup after he missed the game at Philly. It's hard for me to lay points with the Warriors. They are not living up to market expectations. The market expectations are too high. But, I mean, the Celtics, they're 1-5 straight up, 2-4 against the spread since the break. They're hitting 26% from 3 over the last 5 games. They're getting crushed on the boards, and the team chemistry has literally imploded before our eyes. Kyrie Irving and his teammates are not getting along right now. It's very visible on the floor. Hard game to bet. 2 teams I don't want my money on right now.
Teddy, keep hope alive. Can Kansas keep it going? We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. They need a little bit of help to get moving, but they need help from themselves to start out. Kansas, -1.5 now, was about 1 earlier when we were punching up the script for the show. Total had 143, money line split, -115, -105. It's going to be an ESPN 2 game tonight. When we take a look at Kansas, Teddy, nothing as good has come out of them on the road. 1-8 against the spread on the road, 6-9 against the spread in Big 12 play, and 0-3 against the spread as a road favorite. When we flip it over to Oklahoma, Teddy, 18-8 against the spread on the season in line games, 6-3 as a dog, and 9-5 against the spread at home. But it looks like some of that money and the public backing early still coming in on Kansas here.
Of course, it's Kansas. They're Kansas. And they're playing for a chance, and we talked about it earlier, where it's not a good chance because they have 2 opponents that need to lose at home or 2 other Big 12 teams need to lose at home to unranked foes on Sunday for them to do it. They're playing for a chance for their 15th straight Big 12 title. Bill Self, quote, all we can do is what we can and control what we can. All we can control is preparation for OU and getting ready to play a good Sooner team that's also playing for a lot as well. Well, let's not forget Oklahoma very much on the bubble. This is the type of team game that the Sooners may be able to punch their big dance ticket with a victory. You know, they played a tough non-conference slate. They played well against that slate. And even though they lost to Kansas earlier in the season, 70-63, not the same Jayhawks team. You know, Azubuike, that was his last game of the year. He tore his ligaments in his right hand after that game. You know, Vic hasn't played in a month after taking a leave of absence for personal reasons. Those were two key players in that first contest. You know, neither one's around here. Oklahoma beat them at home last year. They're 9-5 against the spread in Norman. They've been a big point spread winner all year. Kansas hasn't. Just saying.